Belfast protests? Okay, can somebody explain to me what the fuck is going on here? I'm literally hearing about this right now for the first time.
I'd be happy to enlighten Vaush as to what's going on in Ireland, but I'm just surprised that one of our own, Irish laddie, isn't aware of the situation in his own country. And because he's no context, I'm sure he's not going to lecture us on why we're just a bunch of racists for defending our country. If you didn't know, a Sudanese man attempted to behead an Irishman in Belfast. Instead of tolerating this and being ignored by our politicians ad infinitum, people decided to take to the streets and riot, and it went so far as to burn down the homes of immigrants.
Protesters in Belfast are going house to house looking for migrants and evicting them.
Right.
It's such a complex topic. It's really not, man. It's the same shit that happens like every fucking time. A migrant or immigrant or a non-white person or whatever else does a crime, which is bad. And then everyone's like, fuck, we got to do a pogrom. It's like the same shit. It's literally always been like, it's been like this for thousands of years, man.
That's an extremely presumptuous and pat explanation for someone who just found out about this 2 minutes ago. Since he can only deal in these simplistic narratives, I'll give him a simplistic explanation. We don't want people from countries that disproportionately commit crimes. And when they disproportionately commit crimes, people get angry.
I just hate how we have to relitigate this shit every time some white guy gets... No, for sure. It's completely, like, civilizationally destabilizing that we need to have a gigantic national moment every time a murder, or in this case, attempted murder, takes place where the perpetrator was, like, anyone other than a native white guy.
I'll go back to the homosexual example because it's where we have the most data. How can we import millions of Muslims from these countries where the vast majority, often 99% of them, think homosexuality is immoral, and then feign surprise when one of our homosexual citizens gets beheaded from one of those Muslims from that backward country? Foreigners make up 1 in 4 of the population, so for these 2 random beheading attacks, we should point to 8 more by the native Irish population. But that doesn't happen. What a coincidence.
This is just Nazi shit. Nazis did this exact shit every time a Jew got into a bar fight in Berlin. Literally, like, it's just straight Nazi shit.
Oh, a Jew getting in a bar fight is pretty similar to a Sudanese man beheading someone. Well, just so you know, one is pretty common in the West and one isn't.
Dharma is silent on this because he wants the only... He does not care because he is aware of the fact that his political coalition is in favor of Islamophobia. Islamophobia is the key wedge that unites the groups that you would expect to be anti-Semitic and the Zionist reactionaries.
Oh, it was the Jews again. Why didn't I think about that? Another Muslim just beheaded somebody and it was the Jews' fault. I'd take it a step further. If you're against beheadings, you're probably a Zionist piece of shit.
There was a violent incident that led to Kristallnacht. There was some like local... I think it was like a Jew defended himself.
You can't make this up. Just before he gave us that Jewish conspiracy theory, now he's trying to compare the anti-immigration riots to what the Nazis did to the Jews. What you anti-immigration guys are doing is like what the Nazis did to the Jews. And by the way, the only reason that you're anti-immigration is because the Jews control your politicians and they're brainwashing you into being Islamophobic.
They were never protests, by the way. Like, what are they protesting? The guy was immediately arrested. What are they protesting? What was the protest? It was always going to be a race riot. It was a group of white nationalists assembling to politically pressure the expulsion of immigrants.
I don't doubt Vaush's intelligence, so I don't know why he's being so incredulous here, acting that stupid. What could they possibly be protesting? It's not like the vast majority of people in Northern Ireland think that immigration is a bad thing, except that's exactly the case. When asked if they agree that immigration has made a positive contribution to the North's economy and society, 56.6% disagree, with only 21% agreeing. And these are usually from working class communities, but I know the left only pretends to care about the working class. But Vaush is just like, "Oh, father, I don't understand why they're protesting again. If these immigrants are so dangerous, why don't they just ask Chives to beef up the security again? What do you mean they don't have a housekeeper, Chives? Then who wipes their bum-bums?
It seems like a pretty standard pogrom to me. Why say white nationalists instead of white supremacists? Because, like, white supremacy is a really broad term and it encapsulates a lot of things. These people are explicitly fighting for an all-white United Kingdom, and they are trying to achieve that by burning down non-white people's homes. Like, they are taking a much more active role in the establishment of a white ethno-state.
Even though this is only tangentially about skin color, we want people in the West who are similar to us, have similar values, not because of their physical appearance. No one cares about Spanish people coming over, no one cares about Black Americans coming over. It's the Sudans, the Pakistans of the world that we have an issue with. And for pretty good reason too. Not because of their skin color, but because of their views, their culture.
If someone is a genuine right-wing person who's concerned about what's going on in the UK, what would your advice to them be? But like, what's going on in the UK? What do you mean by that? Like, that would be my question, right? Because right-wingers love to hide behind the obfuscation of their position. What my first question would be like, what is happening?
Well, Vaush, I thought you'd never ask, but let me inform you. While it is a multifaceted issue, we'll talk about some of the key points. One is the sheer price tag associated with them. We're spending billions accommodating, feeding, paying for their translations, paying to deport them, and all the hidden costs associated with them. Not only are we directly paying for these immigrants, we're indirectly paying the price as well. Increased job competition hurts the native wages, not to mention the strain of having thousands of people added to the country every month during a housing crisis. Even our weak, limp-wristed politicians admit that this is a problem.
It is not an unfair point to point out at a time when you have a growing population, more people coming to our country and a shortage of housing, that there is a correlation in terms of the scale of challenge that can pose.
Not to mention that they're dangerous. Why is crime since 2016 ticking upwards despite an aging population? As much as the mainstream media and the government will try to obfuscate it, there's a palpable sense that Dublin and Ireland are more dangerous today.
Videos of other people speak about how Dublin doesn't feel the same as it did like even 3 or 4 years ago, and that's so true. When I was younger, my friends and I would go to Temple Bar, would go to town, like we'd have a great time, there'd be no issues. But now, even though I'm so much older, it just like feels way more scary.
Do you feel safe in Dublin City at the moment?
No, definitely not.
Can I ask you why?
Well, there's an awful lot of unsocial behaviour now. It's not only night time now, it's daytime. And we're here now on the street where it's all multinationals and we don't know what's going to happen from one end of the day to the other. Like, for instance, last week there was a stabbing incident in the ILAC Centre during the day, like
in around the area, and there's a lot of atmosphere between foreign people and refugees and the Irish people. The guys going up through the bins, rooting through the bins. I witnessed here about 2 weeks ago that there was two groups fighting over. It was their corner. These bins was their area, so it's just getting.
So were they looking in the bins for stuff?
Rooting for the bottles and the things. But then another two guys came over to them and said, "These are their bins. This is their area. Keep off our turf."
It's just not the same anymore. You just feel very nervous. A lot of pickpocketing going on. That is robbing, stabbings, the whole lot. It's just not the same anymore. You don't feel safe.
Do you feel safe in the Dublin City after a lot of recent shenanigans that went on?
No, not as much as I used to. I just think you don't know now who's, there's so many, you see knife crime is on the rise. You don't know who's going to approach it at any given moment.
Even our tyrannical politicians who are enforcing these immigrants on us admit there is a problem. They just can't point to the cause. It must be violence in video games again.
Dublin city centre is no longer safe. That's a statement of reality.
And this isn't even mentioning the high-profile cases we've seen, like the recent femicide of a US woman in Killarney. Femicide which is disproportionately committed by immigrants, by the way.
Because if their problem is non-white people are there, then they could pluck out their eyes, so they no longer have to see them.
Ah, yes, it's solely about skin color. The Irish people are just racist.
Their problem is, I'd assume, that a lot more brown people are just committing murders or something. Are they? Like again, like I need them. If they have an argument, they have to make the argument. They have to like give me a data point. Like show me, like here is the data. Sudanese immigrants commit like twice as much murder or whatever. Like,
so these liberal retards are gonna force immigrants on us, and then it's up to us to prove that they're dangerous? The upper class are the ones who want these immigrants, yet it affects the lower class, and it's up to the lower class to prove that it's not safe by the time they're already within their communities. These are the socialists, by the way, who care for the working man, remember? And in Ireland, we don't actually record ethnicity. It's up to right-leaning politicians to get that information. They're saying, prove us wrong and release the data. But for European countries that do record the data, the picture is pretty clear. Take, for example, Germany. Foreign-born residents are more likely to be unemployed than native-born Germans, and non-citizens commit 40% or more of the crime, despite being 15% of the population. They won't give us the data, and then people like Vaush are complaining when we don't have it. And they use that to dismiss the opinions of ordinary working class citizens while, again, pretending to care about them. But I think Vaush's reaction to the Parnell Street stabbings is emblematic of his cavalier attitude towards immigration in Ireland. After an Algerian-born man attacked children in Dublin, 5 and 6-year-olds, leaving one of them disabled for life. What's Vaush's reaction to the policies that he advocates for and enforces on the actual Irish people?
police would not comment on the nationality of the detained man. If he's been in Ireland for 20 years, he's Irish. Whatever.
Ah, it's to blame the Irish people. We don't want these people here. You enforce them on us, and then you blame us when they do something bad. Oh, they're trying to behead people, stab your children. Ah, whatever. Here's another 10,000 immigrants in your community. Best of luck. We don't know if they're safe. It's up to you to get the data. Hopefully. Bye. Whatever. You can understand his nonchalance. Living in Beverly Hills, it doesn't affect his community. He doesn't see the crime every day. Why would he care? When this Vaush declared Irish person went to court, he was heard saying, "Kill yourself, Irish shit. See what happened in your country? No payment. I am Islam. Your country is shit." That's a pretty weird thing for an Irish person to say. Your country? Is it not his country?
If he's been in Ireland for 20 years, he's Irish. Whatever.
His application for a supplementary welfare allowance was rejected, and that was enough reason to kill Irish children. We helped this asylum seeker. We gave him money, but it wasn't enough. Oh, and he's Irish, by the way, so it's our problem. But finally, to circle back to the riots in Belfast, listen to how different Vaush's tune is when he's talking about the BLM riots in the United States.
Happy populations don't riot. The individual level of emotional investment in the death of one random person in your city is not sufficient to motivate hundreds or thousands of people to go out there and riot and loot. It's not possible. It doesn't work that way. There are underlying problems, and those problems existed before George Floyd was murdered. Does it not make more sense to attempt to prevent future riots by impugning the conditions which led to the rioting than it does to impugn the rioters? The optics of the situation are essentially irrelevant. The people in the neighborhood of Minneapolis, the poor black folk, they know their police force is racist as fuck. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, if we're to assign culpability, the fault ultimately lies on the part of everyone who was responsible for building up those social conditions, for leading things to the place that they are now.
But the roles are completely reversed when it's a cause that he disagrees with. The people of their community don't know what's happening. Some elitist in Beverly Hills is a better gauge of that. They're just racists. We don't have to understand the social ills leading to these riots. Unlike the BLM rioters, the culpability isn't on the politicians who forced these immigrants on the Irish people. When it's anti-immigration riots, we have to find the statistics that they won't make available to us. Notice how he wasn't asking the BLM rioters to provide statistics on police racism. They just know, and we should trust them.
Right. It's such a complex topic. It's really not, man. It's the same shit that happens like every fucking time. Immigrant or a non-white person or whatever else does a crime, which is bad. And then everyone's like, fuck, we gotta do a pogrom.
It doesn't really seem like you're trying to understand the social ills that led to this rioting. The people of Minneapolis know what's happening in their community, unlike the people of Northern Ireland, who need some elitist from Beverly Hills to tell them that they're racist.